Hello, hello, hello. It is Friday and it's cold out there in Houston, right, Steven?
Way too cold. This is crazy. This is crazy. It's supposed to be Houston. We're supposed to be able to wear shorts outside and stuff.
Exactly. Just does not make any sense. What is the deal? But I guess it's happening all across the country, right? It's just cold everywhere. So I guess we need
Yeah,
to
I mean,
take care
and
of it.
very very sad situation that happened in Fort Worth and in Austin. 70 car pile up in Fort Worth and 24, 20 whatever number pile up in Austin. So please, guys, be safe out there on the roads. This is crazy. Texas, we don't get a lot of cold weather, so of course we don't know how to drive the best in icy conditions. So
Yeah, that's very true, Steve. And on Monday we're expecting that same type of weather. We're expecting the cold rain and the freezing rain and the freezing temperatures, and so we definitely want to be careful because it's not something that we're typically used to, for sure, for
agreed.
sure.
Agreed.
So while we're waiting on a few people to jump on, Steve, tell me about your week. How was your week?
It's been an interesting week. It's been somewhat, well, I would say very productive, very
Mhm.
productive. So a good week. We've been in transition, so we want to apologize to everybody because we I think we were on hiatus for a couple of weeks, right, Cyril? I think we missed two
We were.
Mondays.
We were. It's been crazy. It's been really busy. And so it's hard for us to squeeze in. You know how it goes. Facebook on Mondays, it's always a tough day because it's a busy day. You're trying to get back into the swing of things. And so trying to squeeze in something over lunch was tough for us over the last couple of weeks. But we're back.
We're back. We're back. We're back. So, and I think Cyril, you may have mentioned, but the top of our podcast, it still states Motivational Mondays, but now it's Inspirational Fridays, right?
Inspirational Friday. So we thought that why not end the week on a good note and provide some inspiration and start the weekend on a positive note. Plus, this is a little bit less less going on Fridays for
Hey,
us. Monday.
Mondays we're getting really tough.
Right, right. So, well, great, great, great. So we're getting a few people on. As always, we want you guys to chime in, say hello, let us know, who you are, where you're calling in from, or where you're listening in from, because we want to just engage with as many people as possible. And yeah. And so today's topic, I'll go ahead and pull it up so we can put it up here, is what have we learned from the pandemic? And so basically, this is a personal testimony from Stephen and I on kind of the things, lessons learned that we received, and things that we did and changed in regards to our outlook over this last year and some months. And unfortunately, it's still not over. Pandemic is still going, but we've learned some lessons, right, Steve?
We have, and Cyril and I were chatting about this the other day, and for all of the negative things that have happened, and there's definitely been devastation to our country. A lot of people have been devastated financially with losing their jobs and losing their businesses. Obviously, from a health standpoint, we are in prayer for those families that have lost loved ones due to this illness. But there has been some positives about what has happened through the pandemic. And Sterling and I were just talking about how a lot of people don't really want to talk about some of the positive things that they've that has come out of the pandemic. But to be honest, I think that we've heard more positive than negative, and so we just kind of wanted to spend some time today talking about some of those positive things that we've learned and we've heard from other people, and let you guys share as well and let us know what you've learned from the pandemic.
That's a really good point, Stephen. I think that in life, what happens is we get so caught up in doing our day-to-day routine that we never get a chance to stop and really just look at what are we doing? Are we going in the right direction? Do we need to do something else? And I think that something as devastating as this pandemic has really forced a lot of people just to stop for a moment and just think about, where am I? Is this where I want to be? Or should I be doing something else? So let's jump into it. So, number one, lesson one that we learned is just basically less is more. You can live off of less than what you think. And I think that we all can empathize and sympathize with this. I think everyone was hit pretty hard at the beginning of the pandemic. Some were fortunate enough to continue to get the same amount of income or salary, but many others were affected with having to live with a reduced salary, reduced hours, maybe even layoffs. And I think that one of the things that we definitely learned is that there's a lot of things that you spend money on that you really don't need. And so the necessities is really what you really need to live off of is a lot less than what you think.
Absolutely. And then I think the other thing that a lot of people learn was that, you know what, if I didn't have, do I have a nest egg? Do I have, a little savings for a rainy day, a rainy day fund, an emergency fund. And so not having that, made you really rethink what's important. If you spent less on frivolous things and you stack that money up, saved it for a rainy day or a pandemic kind of situation. When things like layoffs happen and things of that nature, you're in a better position and your family is not kind of devastated by that. But for those that when we talk about savings, we didn't have anything to do, right? You couldn't leave the house. You're not going to the movie theater anymore. You're not going out to eat all the time. And you're just like sitting there. And if you were fortunate enough to have, continue to have a job or something that you could do from home, you're just stacking, your bank account is growing. And it was a nice thing.
You're absolutely right there, Stephen. I guess when you don't have to worry about, putting gas in your car because you're not really going anywhere, you're not going out to eat, you're not going out to do all those other frivolous things, and you really don't have to worry about clothes, right? Because everyone was working from home in their pajamas and that sort of thing. You start seeing a lot of your expenses start to drop down significantly. So that was definitely a plus. We learned that we can live with less is more, and you can live with less. So lesson 2, and actually before we get to lesson 2, we should we got some shout outs to put out there. Hey, Stephanie. Stephanie says she's calling in or listening in from the north side. And Parnell, our frat, is he just say good afternoon, good brother. So good to see you two listening in. So we'll go ahead and go to number 2. And Stephen, you want to take this one?
I do. So number 2, prioritizing your relationships with your family and friends. So obviously, one of the things that happened, obviously, with the pandemic was that, one, we started off with not having any communication with anyone really, outside of your home, right? There were, obviously, there are a lot of people that didn't even want to go see their parents and jeopardize and putting parents or older people in their lives in harm's way. And so you spend a lot of time at home. And for those that, are married or have kids or whatever, you really had a chance to prioritize those relationships, get to know each other a lot better. I always joke still, and I say, you know what? I realized that I really do like my kids. Like I didn't know that I liked them. Like I thought they were okay, but I didn't have a chance to spend a lot of time with them. But I said, we're doing all right. We're doing all right with the kiddos. They're okay. I like them. So I just because you love the kids doesn't mean you like them. Sometimes you love them, but you don't like. But I like my kids. But in all seriousness, you had a chance to develop some good relationships during that time. Sterling, what do you think?
No, I agree with you 100%. Crystal and I talk about how, so Gary, our son is 18, he's a senior in high school, and he really is too cool for his parents. And so typically it was like a ship passing in the night. We very rarely had a chance to spend any time with him. But hey, when the pandemic happened, we were all at home. And it really gave us a chance to really bond with one another. So that was definitely a good thing. But absolutely, I mean, you really start to think about, okay, if I'm not here tomorrow, what would I regret? And I think the things that we regret the most is not the material things. It's those connections, those relationships that we should have cultivated a little bit more. So I think I know that I wanted to make a concerted effort, and I think we all did, with spending more time with our mother and our significant others and our cousins and all the family. So more phone calls, more Zoom calls, all that kind of good stuff. So really important. Got to put those priorities in the right place. For sure.
Yeah, and then just one other thing to mention. I know for our single, followers, the folks that were single, that was a different kind of process or experience they went through, because being single then meant that you were at home alone, for a big piece of this. So valuing, the importance of placing value on having someone to be there for you, if something like this happens. So the thought process, the experience for someone in being single was a little bit different. So just a lot that we learned through this process. So I kind of love it. I kind of love that
great learning process. Yeah. Okay. Number 3, the importance of health and wellness. Well, this was definitely really, really big, right? Because the coronavirus 19 was going after those that were not the healthiest, right? So if you had pre-existing conditions, if you were overweight, if you haven't really been taking care of yourself or taking care of your body, you were at risk, because it was much more detrimental to those who weren't in the best health and fitness levels. And so I think everyone learned how important it is to take care of your body and take care of your mind and take care of your overall wellness. And as we know that during this whole pandemic, there is a significant amount of increase in depression, even in suicide rates, because of just the being alone and not having an outlet and not being able to socialize like we normally do. So I think Stephen and I, for sure, we made a concerted effort to try to stay in the gym and keep working out and that sort of thing. And I think I know with our families in general, Crystal and I would go out and go walking and stuff like that every day. And so those things are important. And then always, of course, looking at your diet, which is so important in your overall wealth and health and fitness. So Stephen, what do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, our focus on health and wellness is much more. I mean, for me, I had so many personal revelations and experiences that happened through this process. I mean, my wife, and a lot of people know that my wife is diagnosed with breast cancer. So we were dealing with that from a health standpoint. That obviously makes you think about what's important in your life. She's going through the process of getting treated for breast cancer in the midst of a pandemic where you're not allowed to even go into the hospital and be with your loved one when she's going through that process. So that for us was very difficult. And then, as you know, Sterling, then I ended up catching COVID, right?
Yes.
And I was in the hospital with COVID. And Sterling mentioned earlier about how Sterling and I like to go to the gym and stay fit. I think that's actually where I caught the COVID virus. Sterling, I was going to the gym.
Exactly.
Here in Texas, it was open. In Texas, it was open. I was going to the gym. Not that I should have been. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
If I could interject, I did tell you not to go to the gym. I was working out in my gym at home. I was not going out into the COVID streets to the young folks.
My people, y'all can attest to this. See, Sterling is a little bit more disciplined than I am, i.e. that's why he went on to get his doctorate. That's why he's Dr. Carter. That reinforces the discipline that he has. I lack that discipline. So I needed to go into the gym with my trainer to kick my butt to keep me active. But no, seriously, it was definitely a lot that we went through that process, and after overcoming COVID and going through the treatments of cancer for our wife, our heightened sense of health and wellness is even more important than it ever was. So definitely a lot of revelations, for me personally, man. It's been a life-changing experience in a lot of ways.
Absolutely. So life-changing. A few shout outs. Just want to say a shout out to Ronnie Dew and the Dews. We've had the opportunity to have a lot of fun times with that extended family and business.
Ronnie and Brett.
Well, and I think Ronnie and Brett have a 30-year anniversary this year coming up. So that's pretty exciting. And to our state representative, Ron Reynolds, who is making so many positive such a positive impact on our local community. He does so many big major things for Fort Bend County. So we just want to say thank you, Ron, for what you do each and every day for the people.
And congratulations to Ron on his recent committee assignments. I think that he's over the environmental committee or a couple of other committees. So he's doing a lot of great things. So thanks for that. Thanks for your service, Ron.
Yeah, and Joe Milborn, I just want to say hello to you and thanks for chiming in and taking a moment to listen to our podcast. Okay, so moving on to number 4. So number 4, never let a good crisis go to waste. Steven, you should take this one because I know you're all about the investments and finances piece.
Oh, so we one of the stories, the things that we always talk about sometimes when we do public speaking, Sterling and I, and we talk about like Donald Trump. I know that's a little volatile to talk about Donald Trump, but Donald Trump has gone bankrupt. I don't know. I can't remember the number of times that he's gone bankrupt, and he's rebuilt himself over and over and over again. And he's figured out a way to survive in crises. And so one of the things that not just Donald, but a lot of people with wealth understand is when you should invest in a down market, or basically when to get in and when to get out. That's the bottom line. When to get in, when to get out. And the reality is that if you do the research and you listen to what a lot of people are talking about, that there are going to be more millionaires created because of this entire COVID process and the fact that people that were smart invested in the stock market or invested in real estate, invested in all of these things when the markets was low and people were selling off and things of that nature. And the long-term return on investment 2 years from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now, those decisions are going to make millions for people. And so I think it was Rahm Emanuel that said, never let a good crisis go to waste. And I just love that statement, because there's always a way to make, lemonade out of lemons, as they say, and things of that nature. Right, Sterling?
Absolutely. I mean, there's so many different examples and testimonies of that. I mean, we have Elon Musk, who is now the richest person in the world, and continues to grow his fortune. And now he just went out and didn't he purchase Bitcoin or put one?
No, he invested $1.5 billion
and changed the game. I think the shares went up to a high of 48,000 just over the last week per share. So money is being made. There's that whole disruption that happened with GameStop and all these different things, but investments are happening all over the place, and we need to be a part of that. A lot of people thought Steven and I were crazy. We opened up 3 new businesses last year alone because we knew that now is the time, because the timing is right to start processing and planning to produce additional revenue in the future. So that's what it's all about. So definitely invest. Now is the time to invest. Interest rates are low, opportunities are high. Just take advantage of it.
Absolutely.
All righty. And our last lesson from the pandemic is time is short. No more excuses. And this is so real and so relevant. I think that in life we spend too much time talking about what we wish we could have done. And talking about what everybody else is doing, and not focusing on what you could be doing. And now is the time. Tomorrow's not guaranteed. If you want that degree, if you want the new job, if you want to go ahead and get an additional certification, start working on that today, because tomorrow's not guaranteed. And so there's no more time for excuses. It's time to get it. And each and every day is an opportunity. As long as you woke up this morning, then it's an opportunity to make a difference. So we want you to make a difference in your life and in the lives around you. Steven?
I think I was listening. I don't know, I listen to a lot of positive kind of motivational speaking on YouTube and things of that nature, podcasts or whatever. And there's Eric Thomas is a guy that a lot of people know about. He's a little brash in terms of his motivational style. But I like what he says. And he basically just talks about the fact that a lot of times we'll go to a restaurant, Sterling, And if we have a bad meal, we'll let that waiter or waitress know, and even, raise it up to the manager. Or if, we had a bad customer service experience at a shopping mall or whatever, we'll let the manager know. But when it comes to looking ourselves in the mirror and holding ourselves accountable, we won't hold ourselves accountable. We want to hold everyone else accountable for what they need to do better, but we don't hold ourselves accountable. And so he talks a lot about, accountability and saying that, the time is short, no more excuses. Stop making excuses, for what you did. And he talks about this, he was a high school dropout, had a GED, and it took him 12 years to complete a 4-year college degree, but he did it, and he stopped making excuses, and he just pushed forward. He's basically like, if I did it, you can do it. And so, I love that time is short. Right now, we've recognized through this pandemic that tomorrow's not promised, as Sterling mentioned. We got to get it, guys. We got to get it. I saw a meme yesterday, Sterling. I just want to share this. I saw a meme on Instagram, and shout out to my sister, Lori Mitchell. She posted this thing, and it was a picture, Sterling, of a fish bowl, right? It was a fish bowl, and it had a great white shark inside of the fish bowl. And the caption basically was that a shark will only grow to the maximum width of their environment. So this shark was 8 inches long, because within this fish bowl, he could only grow to 8 inches.
Wow.
But when you place that great white shark in the ocean, then he can grow to 8 feet. So it's like the difference between 8 inches and 8 feet. And basically the only difference is that he changed his environment. So I think that we all need to think about how our environment is stopping us from growing. And that environment can be anything. So it could be anything from, if you're in a small city and you need to go to a bigger city for bigger opportunities to change your environment. It may be the friends that you keep, and you need to change the kind of people that you hang around, and you want to change to be more progressive and more positive people that you hang around. It could be your education level. There's so many different things that you change, but don't let your environment stop you or impede you from your success.
And speaking of that environment, last note that I'm going to say is just the whole, we hear about it all the time, this crab mentality. This goes back to time is short. We can't focus on everybody else. And you can't pull somebody else down because you're not willing to put the work in. You should be applauding that person for succeeding. We should be appreciating what we are doing together collectively and not trying to pull each other down. So, and if you're in, just like what Stephen was saying, if you're in this circle where no one wants to see you rise, and they're not trying to rise themselves, then maybe you need to find a new circle. And that's just the reality of it. And we hope and we pray that everyone starts to change their mindset and not try to pull people down, but we should all try to push each other up. But if you don't have that type of environment, then you need to change your environment. So I love it.
So let's take these lessons, Sterling, that we've learned from the pandemic, these lessons about life, just the thought process of what's important, prioritizing what's important in our lives, and take this moment to say, I'm going to do things differently. I'm going to be different than I was, March 2020, when the start of this pandemic happened, versus March of 2021. I'm a new person because I've learned a whole lot during this process.
Well, thanks again, Stephen. And again, we are the Carter Brothers. This is Inspirational Fridays. We are just some good old boys from Texas, parents from Mississippi, but we are still entrepreneurs, and we really want to see each and every one of you guys grow and become the best versions of yourselves. So without further ado, we're going to jump off on this Friday, and we will see you on next week, either Monday or Friday, maybe Fridays, right?
Absolutely.
We'll have to figure it out.
God bless you guys. Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.